We find ourselves living in a world crisscrossed by lines, visible, invisible. Many of these are rules, quiet agreements that guide our days. Some are immensely useful, providing safety order. Others, however, seem rather peculiar. Yet remarkably, people tend to follow them all the same. Often, this happens without a moment of thought, as if by instinct. This essay will explore the quiet, hidden psychology behind this phenomenon. We will look at 3 simple, powerful reasons that compel us to obey. The aim here is not to stir alarm, but to foster a calm and curious understanding of this fundamental part of human behavior, helping you to see the patterns at work all around you. Imagine for a moment a small, quiet town you have never visited before. You are walking down a side street and notice a simple painted line crossing the pavement from one side to the other. There is no traffic light, no crosswalk, not even a sign to explain its purpose. Yet, as you watch, something curious happens. Cars approaching the line slow down and come to a complete stop before proceeding. Pedestrians pause at its edge, looking both ways before they dare to cross it. Everyone, it seems, instinctively respects the authority of this single, unexplained line. Why do people obey a mark on the road that has no obvious meaning? This is the quiet, powerful mystery of rule following. This simple scene holds a deeper truth about our nature. We are creatures of pattern and structure, and we often look for cues in our environment to tell us how to behave. The painted line, though silent, speaks a language our minds understand. It suggests a boundary, a point of decision. The first and perhaps most powerful reason we follow rules is our deep-seated respect for authority. When a rule appears to come from an official or knowledgeable source, we instinctively grant it a greater weight. Our minds are conditioned to listen when someone in a uniform speaks, to take a notice on formal letterhead seriously, to accept a directive from a manager at work. We defer to the appearance of leadership. This impulse is known as authority bias. It is a mental shortcut that tells us to trust those who seem to be in charge, often leading us to comply without seeking further justification. It is a quiet, automatic deference to perceived power or expertise. Here is a simple, everyday example that illustrates this principle in action. Imagine a road crew working on a quiet street. One worker wears a bright yellow high-visibility vest, stands by a small temporary barrier, and raises a hand or points toward a diversion. Almost without exception, approaching drivers will slow their vehicles and follow the indicated path, even if the obstruction is minor. The worker may not be a police officer, but his vest and confident posture signal he is in charge. That appearance of authority is often all that is required to ensure compliance. A second fundamental reason we follow rules is the immense influence of other people. We are social creatures, and one of the primary ways we learn how to navigate the world is by observing the actions of those around us. This powerful tendency is known as social proof. When we are uncertain about what to do in a given situation, we look to the group for answers. If we see many people behaving in a certain way, we instinctively assume that it must be the correct, appropriate, safe thing to do. A very common scene demonstrates this principle with perfect clarity. Picture a small independent coffee shop with a glass-tip bowl placed on the counter next to the cash register. When the bowl is completely empty, many customers will pay for their coffee and walk away without leaving a tip. However, if the bowl already contains a few folded notes and a handful of coins, a chain reaction begins. Subsequent customers are far more likely to add their own contribution. The money already in the bowl acts as a powerful silent signal. It tells a quiet story. In this place, good people leave a tip. The rule is not written anywhere, but the evidence of others' behavior establishes it firmly. The third key element in our tendency to follow rules is the way our own minds are designed to work. Our brains are constantly seeking ways to conserve energy. To do this, they create quick, efficient pathways, especially for actions we repeat frequently. These pathways are known as mental shortcuts or heuristics. They allow us to operate on a kind of autopilot, performing complex tasks without having to consciously think through every single step. Consider the simple, ubiquitous signs we see on doors everywhere. Push. Pull. It is a remarkably common experience for a person to approach a door and confidently push, only to find it does not budge. They then look down, see the pull sign, and correct their action. That initial incorrect push was not a failure of intelligence, it was the result of a mental shortcut. Based on past experiences with similar-looking doors, our mind has formed a habit, a default rule. A door with a flat plate is for pushing. The sign is there to override that habit, but the initial impulse reveals the shortcut in action. These three powerful forces, authority bias, social proof, cognitive shortcuts, do not operate in isolation. More often they work together, weaving a strong, invisible net that reinforces a rule and makes it feel entirely natural and unquestionable. When a rule is presented with the weight of authority, adopted by the surrounding crowd, and practiced until it becomes a mental habit, it achieves a level of profound stability. It transitions from being an external instruction to an internal, automatic part of our behavior. Let us return to the painted line on the road in that small town. First, the line itself holds a subtle authority. It is an official-looking marking on public property, suggesting it was placed there by the town council or a department of transport. This is the authority bias at work. Then, as the first car stops, social proof kicks in. The next driver sees this and follows suit, reinforcing the behavior. Pedestrians see the cars stopping and learn to wait as well. Soon, a powerful, unwritten rule is established through collective action. We stop at this line. Understanding these forces is one thing, but learning to see them in our own lives is the next, more important step. This does not require rebellion or confrontation. It simply requires a moment of quiet observation. The test is quick and calm, designed to raise your awareness without causing any disruption. The goal is not to break rules, but to simply see the hidden machinery that makes them work. Here is the test. Sometime this week, choose one small rule that you follow regularly. It could be a rule at your workplace. It could be a custom in your town. It could be a habit within your own home. It should be something you do almost without thinking. Perhaps it is the specific route you take on a walk, the way you organize your desk at the end of the day, or the unspoken rule about who sits where at the dinner table. Once you have your rule in mind, take a moment to ask yourself 3 simple questions with a spirit of gentle curiosity rather than judgment. The first question is, who made this rule, or where did it come from? Was it a person in a position of authority, like a boss? Was it a parent, or a town official? The purpose of noticing these patterns is not to foster distrust or to encourage the breaking of all rules. Many rules are essential for a safe and functioning society. The true goal is to cultivate choice, move from a state of passive acceptance to one of active awareness, where you can consciously decide which rules to follow and why. This brings 2 immediate and powerful benefits. First, you can more fully and willingly embrace the useful rules that help and protect you. Second, you gain the clarity to gently question rules that create unnecessary friction. Change often begins not with a protest, but with a quiet question. Talk calmly and openly about a rule, share observations without blame, and others are more likely to listen. Offer clear, simple examples, showing how a rule may cause more harm than good people begin to rethink automatic compliance. A small crack appears in the solid wall of tradition. In the end, it is helpful to remember that rules are, at their core, simply tools. Like any tool, they are created by people to serve a specific purpose, to make our actions easier, to make our actions safer, to make our actions more coordinated. They are meant to be our servants, not our masters. When a rule is functioning well, it is a wonderful instrument that helps to create order and harmony. However, the hidden psychology that makes us follow rules so effectively can also cause us to cling to these tools long after they have become broken or obsolete. The quiet trick of authority, social proof, habit can hide this fact from us. By learning to recognize these 3 powerful levers, you gain a new kind of vision. You can begin to see the invisible architecture that supports the world around you. You learn to notice the subtle weight of authority, the quiet pull of the crowd, the deep grooves of your own mental shortcuts. On the contrary, it means you can choose your compliance with purpose. If this helped you see patterns, please like and share. Boxmeyer Psychology of Rules. Our behavioral science. Our hidden rules.